Alina Melodina, live from Miami. How you doing, Alina?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How are you, Ted?
I'm great. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
I've really enjoyed our last episode with Winwood. That was really, really interesting. So I just want to compliment you on that. That was some really good information. It's unique. It's different. So good job on that. And what do we have exciting to talk about today?
We're gonna speak about very unique place again. Miami is full of unique places. And the reason why I want to speak about this place is because I just flew in from New York. And you know that during pandemic, a lot of people were moving from New York to Miami. And that was a big change. And this place reminds people from New York about Manhattan. And the place is Brickell.
Oh,
Have we spoken about Brickell yet?
I think maybe you mentioned it, but not enough for me to remember. So I'm
We're
looking
going to
forward to
speak
hearing about
more
it.
about Brickell today.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Uh,
You know what I can
so,
do is I
um,
can,
Brickell is area in Miami that looks like Manhattan, but with a better weather. It's all high rises, and it's a financial center of Miami. A lot of offices, a lot of banks, a lot of entertainment. And that's one of the few areas that you might don't really need the car. Every time when you
mm,
come from a different states, let's say you come from New York, the biggest struggle, you need to have a car always. And this place is an exception because everything is very close and people can move from one place to another using cabs, using Uber, or even walking. And that's mini Manhattan in Miami.
and that's right along the coastline here. It looks like.
It's really centrally located. If you look how close it is to Miami International Airport, you will be surprised. If there's no traffic, it will take you only 15 minutes to get there. Then you're pretty close to the ocean as well, and you are right on the bay. So you
Okay.
have a lot of nice breeze. I mean, there's a downside when it's a hurricane, since the open bay is right there. Usually the area get flooded, but
Mm.
since most of the buildings are high rises, they were built specifically, to protect the building from the flood. They
Oh
all
wow.
elevated, so you're not gonna have uh, you're not gonna have water inside the building. Most of the time, it's on the bottom garage area. That's actually very important when you buy a property, especially in the area close to the bay, and there's assigned parking spot. Make sure that you try to buy the property with assigned parking spot a little bit higher, even
Or
though most of the new buildings they already by the new code, you still want to protect yourself.
yeah, that's one of those inside things you got to know because you wouldn't think about that unless you're experienced in the. Sometimes you learn the hard way too, right?
Unless you're like, beautiful new Ferraris underwater. And that's
Oh
not fun.
yeah, I saw some pictures of that last big storm. That wasn't necessarily Miami; it was more like Naples, and cars are just floating out of the garage. You know,
Yeah.
so that can
And I
really
mean,
get
with
you.
with those brand new buildings, usually doesn't happen. And also, if you are away, valet knows about the situations.
Mhm.
They move the cars up. So it's we prepared for that. We prepared
Got it.
more than any other city in the United States
Oh,
because
I bet.
we face that all the time.
There's like kind of a season for that though, right? It's not all the time.
Yeah, hurricane season starts from May and ends in October. But the weather changes. I don't know if it's a global warming or what it is. Now we have warm weather all the way till November, and I feel like it's pushing toward end of October, beginning of November. We had a
Mhm.
hurricane warning in the beginning of November last year, which was unheard of. So yeah, but
Interesting.
usually it's from May till October.
So when that happens and you know what's coming, do you just make sure you have food and stay inside, or what do you do? How do you prepare?
Well, traditionally, everyone buys water. It's impossible to get drinking water. People just, clean the whole aisles in
Yeah.
the stores. Then put the gas, because not because you will be left with no gas, because if it's not a serious hurricane nothing really
Hmm.
will happen, but because people just buy the gas everywhere, and then there's a huge lines and you can't get gas.
People freak out, huh?
So people freak out, and usually people freak out that seen their serious hurricanes before, like Andrew, for instance.
Yeah. But is that for their generators, do you think, for the gas, or is that so they can fuel up the car if it's like turns into Mad Max and they got to get out of there?
We have a generator. We have a
Yeah.
generator right there in the back. Yes, and we also have a propane natural huge gas tank, which is
Hmm.
great. So because that's what we use for our generator.
Yeah.
Then now everyone is going green energy, so a lot of people start installing solar panels. Obviously, people buying Tesla as well. But if you have no
Mhm.
electricity, you have no electricity. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if you have Tesla. Better to have a car with a gas then.
Yeah. If you gotta have a backup, right? You have your hurricane car.
Yeah.
So, I
But
mean, how much water do you normally do? You do that? Do you buy it ahead of time? Like, do you have a stock of water right now, just ready to go?
uh, I mean, we
It's making me
we in
thirsty.
March, we in March first, and the second thing, I do buy water, and it's more like because everyone does it. Why, like I'll do it too.
Yeah.
I never faced a really serious hurricane because I've been living here since 2010. I mean, we had a huge hurricane last year,
Yeah.
but it didn't touch Miami. You remember it went on the
Hmm.
coast, and it's really damaged a lot of areas
Yeah.
south of Naples, and Fort
Hmm.
Myers was completely destroyed. Or it touched Orlando as well, but it didn't go on the East Coast.
Yeah.
The most serious hurricane that hit us when I lived in Miami was Irma. And even though it was when by the time it hit, it landed to landfall. How do you call it? Landfall? Landfall.
By the time
Sorry,
you land, by
I
the
need
time
some
you
English.
land,
I need some English teacher.
sure.
Um, so when I got to Miami, it already downgraded from the hurricane, 4 to between 1 and 2. But the biggest problem was all this wind pushed a lot of water,
Hmm.
and we had houses that was flooded big time.
Wow.
Not in Coral Gables.
Cool game, and that's right on the coast, right?
Brickell had, yeah, because I live in the Coral Gables, so I know
Yeah.
we were dry and nice. Brickell was interesting because people were recording right from the balconies, so from the windows. So
Hmm.
the rivers of the streets were full of water, but nothing got inside the buildings. Again,
Really?
it's because it's a brand new buildings. They are elevated. The way how they constructed,
Wow.
they prepared for the hurricane and for a lot of flood.
It's really interesting. Yeah, I guess that's the two things I hear. There's that, and then second thing I hear is humidity. Third thing I hear is bugs and animals like crocodiles and all the well, not crocodiles, alligators and lizards and snakes and
I
and,
mean,
and a ton of bugs.
and we don't live in the Everglades. When you live in the city, you don't see it. My girlfriend moved to Australia, and I asked her, "Oh my God, there's
Oh
a lot of
no.
animals. They're gonna kill you." I'm like, "Baby, I live in the city, like in the
Yeah.
middle of the town, in a condominium. What are you talking about?" So we watch
Hey.
this, news and everything, and we think it's everywhere. Same thing with Miami. I mean, in Florida, of course, if you go to Everglades, you will see
Mhm.
alligators and crocodiles. Then pythons is a big problem right now. that South Florida faces. I mean, if alligators attack people, it just happened like 2 weeks ago, I
I
think.
heard about
Somewhere
that.
in north part of Florida, there was an older lady that was walking the dog. Again, alligators don't like salt water. That I learned. So whenever you, if you're afraid of alligators, and you want to be on the water, buy a property on a canal, on an ocean, avoid lakes.
Well, you know, what I've learned is I don't have to be afraid of alligators. I just have to have somebody with me that I can run faster than.
Ah,
So then,
that's smart.
yeah, I bring Scott with me because he can't defend himself. So wherever I go to Florida, I'll bring Scott. And of course, I can run faster than Scott. Come on, who can't, right?
Ay. So tell
So
me what's going on with the interest rates.
you know, they've gone up a little bit. We see them about a half a point up right now, and you know, it's so fluid where every day it changes. But I think for the last 2 weeks, I've seen them come up about a half a point. Where I was pricing jumbos like 5.5, now I'm looking at 6.25. It's going to move. It's going to move depending on what's in the news and what's going on with the mortgage-backed securities and the feds and everything else. But we did have some good news come out today. FHA is going to lower their mortgage insurance. So typically speaking, when you look at FHA's mortgage insurance, it's pretty high compared to like private MI, PMI. But the FHA is lowering it, and they're also going to lower their funding fee. Not FHA, but VA. Their loans are going to lower their funding fee. So when you do a VA loan, there's always a funding fee that comes along with it. It's typically pretty high. But then they save in all these other areas. Well, now they're lowering that a bit. So there's some good news on both fronts there. But yeah, Rachel just up a little bit.
Ted, can you tell me more about FHA? Not me, because I know more or less about FHA, but who is qualified for FHA? If people want to apply for that type of mortgage, how they can get prepared, and what is advantages and disadvantages?
Yeah, I would say the advantage is that you can go all the way down to 3.5% down payment. So that's an advantage. So your barrier to entry is really low. So people that don't have a huge down payment, FHA is a great loan for them. You are going to have FHA loan limits, and I mean it is my area, but I typically see them to be lower than like somebody in Miami. You're not going to be in Brickell getting an FHA loan, right? You're going to be looking probably more east inward. And yeah, they do raise the loan limits for considering what area you're in. Look at the medium house price. But typically, the FHA loan limits are going to be a lower limit to qualify. So you're not going to get a jumbo FHA, right? You're going to get loan limits that are FHA. So I can look it up per zip code. I mean, here's an advantage though. We can do up to 4 units. So you can have a 4-plex with the FHA loan as long as you're living in it. So what strategy would be somebody goes in, they take their rental income, and we use that to qualify. You can take up to 70% of each unit and use that to qualify with the income.
And most of the time it's 2 years tax return?
Yeah, well, not tax returns. I just need 2 years of income. Yeah, so I need 2 years of income. I mean, that's standard. I mean, we do have loans that will go 1 year, but then you're talking non-QM, which is going to be higher rates. And, but when you do a non-QM, and now we're not talking FHA, we're into a different world of lenders, right? The guidelines are going to be different, but sticking with the FHA just for a minute, two major downsides. One is the mortgage insurance is typically higher. So you may be looking at your rates, and the rates are typically cheaper too. So I was pricing a guy in the low 4s to mid 5s.
Oh, wow.
But then you work in the MI, and you might as well be at 6.5 in your interest rate. It's that big of a difference. Here's the other thing that sucks about it. FHA, as long as you're in that loan, you're not removing the mortgage insurance. It doesn't matter if you're at 50% loan to value. So you get all this appreciation, you paid it down. The MI is always going to be there. So eventually you're going to refi and get into a different program and out of it. But to start, let me think about it. You have 3.5% down, you get a home, you're in there for 5 years. Now you built up, 30% equity or something. Now you can go get a loan because your loan to value is at 70% to, loan to value versus at 96.5 when you started. Now you get into a great loan, a conforming loan. So there is strategy behind it. And there's even down payment assistance programs we can hop into that to cover that 3.5%. So I think for your lower income, low down payment options, it really opens up a lot of doors. And it's government insured. So that's the big thing. That's why the government's insuring the loan.
And most of the time, the buyer is going to be a first-time buyer, right?
Not necessarily. No, you don't have to be a first-time buyer to get FHA loan. In fact, we have I think you can even do second. I get a double check here. I haven't done a tremendous amount of FHA. I typically do more jumbo loans and self-employed, more of the unique products. FHAs are pretty standard, so I'm not 100% on the guidelines. I have to double check on the investment and second homes, but I know for primary how it works for sure.
You're gonna believe me or not, I never ever done FHA loan. I never had a client.
No, I'm not surprised at all. No, because look what you're selling though. They're not going to qualify. The houses are too expensive.
But it's a great program, especially for first-time buyers. When new family, you just start working, you have a great tax return, so income. You qualify.
But here's the thing.
But you don't have a lot of savings.
Yeah, but I have other programs that I can do low down payment with mortgage insurance too. So I would look at both of them side by side and say, okay, where is the advantage and disadvantage with each one of them? Because when FHA, they always have these weird guidelines too. Like when they do the inspections, everything's got to be perfect. There's all these little things that you're in the box, and there's no moving that box. Here's the box, that's it. There's no flexibility, and so you really got to dive into somebody's scenario and make sure that everything checks. And that's why, the trick is with any of these, it's dependent on the person. Then you take them through and you check the boxes. Is it fit or not? And if not, then let's move to the next one. And that's kind of where a broker comes in, is like, you have to know where to take the client based on their unique circumstances. And I will say that's an advantage of being a broker, where I have like close to 200 lenders I can go to, versus you walk into your bank, we call that retail. And let's just use Wells Fargo. You walk into Wells Fargo, I want to get a loan. Wells Fargo has a set of loans that they offer. That's it. They're probably not going to have a bank statement program. They're not going to have a DSCR loan. They're going to have a cake program. None of that's going to exist. It's not in their world. They don't even know about them half the time, because that's not something they sell. Even the licensing requirements to work in a bank like that is different than what it would be for me. So it's really interesting how that works. So anyways, point being, a broker like me, it's our job to sort through the different programs and see which box you fit in based on your unique circumstance, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's why people will come to you versus big banks. I remember the story when my client wanted to refinance them by something else, and his original mortgage was $1.2 million mortgage. And at that time, the property value went up so dramatically. The property already valued at $2.5 or $3 million.
Oh, nice.
And the bank said, no, we can't do it. We only can refi the amount that you own. Like, well, the appraisal of the property, look at the appraisal of the property, or send you independent appraisal. Like, no, that's the only program we have. We only can refi you $1.2 million, and it didn't make any sense, of course.
And what's crazy, Alina? There's a saying, you don't know what you don't know. And I'm guilty of it too. When I was younger, when I bought my first house, I had no idea about any of this stuff. I was almost intimidated, and I think intimidated by my ignorance, that I don't know what this is. It's you just never been exposed to it. So the first time you go through this process, you don't know what you don't know. And that's why I think it's really important to educate these borrowers or buyers so they understand they have options. And there's a lot of options, a lot more than you'd even think about. But until, again, as you live life and you go through these things, with anything, you gain knowledge and experience through it, and then it becomes like second nature. Like, you and I can talk about this all day. It's like, oh yeah, I've been there, done that, right? But somebody else, they just don't know. They don't know what this is about.
Yeah, and it's a big purchase. It's not just to go and buy Snickers.
Yeah.
It's a big purchase.
Snickers or sneakers?
Yeah. I mean, they're expensive sneakers sometimes, but
yeah, no, you're right.
You need big purchase.
That's a major investment. It's commitment.
Going back to Brickell, I wanted to, highlight a couple buildings that I think it's worth to talk about them.
Yeah, tell me what they are. I'll pull them up and share the screen.
Well, I'm gonna go back to vacation rental because that's one of the
Your
industries
niche.
that I specialize on. And if you pull a building Flatiron, that's the building that was just finished a couple years ago, right before pandemic. It's one of the few buildings that it doesn't allow daily rent, but it allows monthly rent.
Okay.
It's right in the middle of Brickell,
Ah,
beautiful building.
can
And
you see? Can you see the screen, Alina? Is this what I'm
Yeah,
looking at right now?
you can see the screen. Beautiful building,
Yeah.
very well located, allows monthly rent,
Ooh, that's
which is
gorgeous.
great for people that want to live in New York, let's say, for instance, right, and
Sure.
come to Miami only a couple times a year, and then you rent the rest of the year short term. That the building that doesn't allow to advertise on Airbnb though. So
Yeah.
if you want to do vacation rental, you have to avoid any websites that specializes on vacation rental. So no Airbnb, no VRBO, but you can put it on a MLS as a seasonal rent.
Okay.
Or you can offer it through different platforms. Let's say, for instance, I have huge network of people that work with the vacation rental clients, and we
Yep.
exchange the clients and we exchange the data.
I see.
So that's one building that I really like. The amenities is great. There is a rooftop beautiful pool, and the spa is gorgeous. I don't know if you can pull the
Let me look.
pictures.
I'm looking at the. I mean,
I love the
these are
spa there.
amazing.
It's a paradise. And then when you go to the gym, you will see the whole Miami all the way to Fisher Island. You can see, because it's so high, you can see the Fisher Island
Wow.
right from the gym, like working out
Oh, here's your
on a
pool.
treadmill. Beautiful pool. Love it.
No, this
Love
is
this
this
building.
is gorgeous. How much would it rent? So if somebody would come there, rent this for a month, and they want to get like a 2 bedroom. I don't even know what the size is. 700, 800 square feet. What are they looking at?
Depending on the season, I mean, easily $8,000 a month plus.
Wow.
Easily,
Yeah, there you go, right
because
there.
the
Condo for rent.
amenities of the location. I'm talking about short-term rent. I'm not talking about
Yeah.
long-term rent. Then another cool building for vacation rental will be Icon 2.
Hey, wait, before we pass this one, let me ask you. If I wanted to
Well,
buy one of these, what's my price? I guess I'm looking at it right here. 430,000 and 3.1 million. Does that sound about right? That's a wide range.
well, because if you look at the building, there's a small small apartments, and then there's also penthouse. There was a
Okay.
beautiful penthouse that was listed by, I think it was what's her name, Dina Golden. I forgot her last name. It was a gorgeous 2-story penthouse that was listed in
Wow.
this building. Yeah, so that's why you have such a price range in this building.
That's amazing. I love that pool.
And you know who made a lot of money? People
Who?
that bought it as a pre-construction. Oh,
Oh,
they made a good 40-50% on the invested money.
wow.
Yep.
That's smart.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's
Yep.
the second one? Brickell.
Icon 2, I love it, because again, vacation rental is allowed in this building. It has to be Icon 2 because there are a couple
There we go.
icons.
There's 2 towers, right?
Yeah. Then the beauty about this, again, location, it's centrally located, right in the heart of Brickell. If you go downstairs, you will see a famous restaurant that a lot of people from New York love. It's Cipriani. People love restaurant Cipriani because it's just, reminds them about New York.
Wow.
Then again, you can do short-term rent. The building went crazy during pandemic because not a lot of condominiums allow short-term rent, and with amount of people that came to Miami, there was not enough inventory, and those properties, first of all, they went in value by good
Mhm.
20-30%, just like that.
It's
Second
amazing.
of all, like a regular one-bedroom property that used to be rented for like $2,800 a month, maybe 3,000, people will start renting it for like $7,000-8,000 a month, and it will be completely booked. It
Wow.
was insane. And now, when the crisis is over, Icon 2 is still very popular for short-term rent. But then,
So,
if
Lena,
you go,
if somebody wanted, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but if somebody wanted to get into one of these, they're watching the show and they want to go, did they call you and they say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, I'm going to come in, I don't know, May, and I want to get it for 2 months? Is that how, and then you kind of go find and give them options? How does that work?
I work a little bit different. So I have my own inventory, and vacation rental is a very time-consuming business. So if I start looking for other properties of other people or other
Hmm.
agencies, it's going to be a nightmare. So usually, if I have a property that meets the criteria, so I
Yep.
have a team that will offer this person a property that we manage. If not, we might go to the group chat of like 200 realtors that specializes on vacation rental and ask them if they have anything. Usually
Got it.
we do it with the friends and friends of
Yeah.
friends. If not, then we just skip that. We offer our inventory, or we recommend go on Airbnb and find it.
Yeah.
Airbnb lately increased the fees and not very easy to work with, unfortunately, but
Do you use other platforms? Isn't there some other, I'm
yeah.
slipping on the name, but
There is
my,
Airbnb. I'll call like top 5 main platforms that people use. It's Airbnb. Everyone knows that, right? It's Vrbo or HomeAway. It's the same company.
yeah.
The beautiful and interesting part about Vrbo that it's older than Airbnb. Not a lot of people know about that, but it's been on the market for a very long time. I don't know the exact year, but Airbnb didn't exist back then. Booking.com, a lot of people think that Booking.com is only for hotels, which is not true. And the interesting thing is Booking.com is popular between people from Europe. So you will see that a lot of reservations, at least that we take, will be from people that coming from Europe.
That makes sense.
Then you are looking at TripAdvisor. You can put property on TripAdvisor as well. And the most difficult one for vacation rental, because you have to qualify, is Expedia.
Oh.
Expedia is still kind of up, I still can't figure out the qualification why they take some of our properties and why they don't take other properties.
Mhm.
But they are not accepting your listings automatically. There's a
Interesting.
process. So I would say that's top 5, and there's a lot of small ones. And then
It's
when you
interesting. I wouldn't even think about TripAdvisor, Expedia. That in my mind, I've never even considered those for short-term rentals, and I don't know why. That's not my world, though. I'm not often looking for that.
Well, it's interesting also in some of the areas you will find more properties on these platforms than on Airbnb. Let's say, for instance, when I fly to Russia, I mean, I don't fly to Russia anymore, but when I used to, I will go and look into Booking.com, because Airbnb will have very few properties and Booking.com
Yeah,
will have a huge inventory. So you
that's
just,
really interesting. It's just regional, and it, so that makes
and a
sense.
lot of people going toward different platforms, because as I mentioned, Airbnb is getting, any company, when it gets bigger, it's less customer service and more headache.
Mhm. Well, I've been reading, like I'm on a couple forums, and like they changed their algorithm, and so people that had like really good high booked units, all of a sudden their bookings are dropping off, and what do I do? And there's guys in there that crack the algorithm, say, okay, here's what you have to do, and blah 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 blah. But that's kind of a scary proposition, to be so dependent on a platform to drive your business, because if that platform changes like they did, now you're kind of left like, okay, what do I do? I got this beautiful place, nobody's
You have
renting.
to diversify, and also
Mhm.
I would always recommend to buy, if you want to invest in the real estate, always have a plan B. Okay,
Yeah.
Airbnb is great, vacation rental is great. Miami is one of the top destinations in the United States for vacation. But then just have it in mind, if that doesn't work, or if I'm not comfortable with this, what are my other options?
Yeah.
It's always
Medium
nice
rental,
to
long-term rental.
know that you can do the long-term rent. And some of the buildings don't allow that. Some of the buildings, if you buy, especially in the condo hotels, you have to look in the rules, because some of the buildings don't allow for the same client to stay for more than 3 months, even for the owners.
Oh.
Even for the owners. And it's a condo hotel usually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, you told me earlier about a amazing restaurant. I have 2 screens.
Open it.
And this thing's flashing into my eyes on the side here. And I'm like, this place is dope. What is this sexy fish all about? Hold on, let me find it. Okay, so we're going to share this, and then we're going to make that the main screen. Let's see. So we're watching it right now. This is Sexy Fish, right?
Yeah, find the bathroom. The bathroom is crazy.
The bathroom? I'm going to find the bathroom.
Every girl took at least once in her life a selfie in the bathroom. But, this restaurant has such a crazy bathroom that even if you don't like selfies, you have to take a selfie in this bathroom.
Is this okay?
And I like men bathroom more than woman bathroom. And I sneaked in and I took a selfie in the men bathroom.
That's funny. Okay, so I'm going to do this.
I don't know whether, you'll find it, because everyone knows, whoever ever been to Sexy Fish, they went to the bathroom to take a selfie.
All right. So is this it right here?
Yeah, but it's not a bathroom.
The bathroom is Sexy Fish. Where? That's not it?
Bathroom Sexy Fish. No, it's not.
That's what it says. So the bathroom is Sexy Fish. Okay, well, let's find it. Let me go back.
Anyhow, Sexy Fish is located in Brickell, and it's a new restaurant, at least new for Miami, because it existed, the brand existed, and I think they have the first and original restaurant in London. You have to visit it. It's kind of more a tourist interaction. That's a woman one, and there's a man one, which is crazy.
And she's literally doing a selfie as you described. Wait, is that you, Alina? Is that you?
No, I was in the men bathroom, and the men bathroom is blue, and they have this statue, that looks so real.
I'm gonna find it. Sexy Fish, Miami. Keep talking. It's all right. Miami.
So you have to go there at least once to see, to take a picture, to take a selfie. And then the drinks are great. The location is amazing. It's great for events, for some celebrations. I'm probably not gonna go there all the time. I mean, I've been there like twice. That's it. That's enough. That's it. That's the bathroom.
That is amazing.
Crazy. Look at
that.
This.
That is so cool. I wonder. You know what? I bet you anything we get one of these in Vegas. They always do that.
Yes. I'm sure.
I'm gonna keep my eye out for this one. What do? Sexy Fish.
Yeah.
What do we have one? I don't even know it.
So that's the one. And then my top favorite restaurant in Brickell will be Komodo. Love the food. It's Komodo, Komodo. It's fusion, Asian fusion, Chinese, but not like a real Chinese food. Beautiful exterior. If you go and and outside is really gorgeous. They built nests, and you can see all the way up there. The food is great. The Peking duck is amazing. So that's my favorite one.
No, that's great.
I like Sexy Fish because of the selfie.
Yeah, you like selfies there. The food over here. Look at this Peking duck. That looks great.
Yes, the Peking duck is to die for.
We have a restaurant here called Chinglish, and it's interesting. There's 2 of them, and they're side by side. And the husband is Jewish, the wife is Chinese, and so they have a 100% kosher restaurant right next to their standard restaurant, I guess, non-kosher. And the dad was a famous chef in Hong Kong. So you go there and, not quite as beautiful as that. I'll admit it's nice, but I love the Peking duck there. It's really good. And they'll come over and they have their little, I guess, little wraps. I don't know what they're called, but you take the duck, put it on the wrap, you get the sauce, and the guy will show you how to build the Peking stack. And I like that because I like the owners to be, involved, their family. Again, the husband's white guy, the wife's Chinese, and they're together and they have this fusion of cultures. But the Peking duck there is to die for. It's called Chinglish Wine Bar. And
I've
it's in
never heard of Chinese kosher food. That's something new.
It is. It's different, but I mean, it's apparently a pretty good job. I have some business partners of mine that came in and that were very into that, to honoring the traditions or whatever, following the rules. I don't know how you call it, but they checked it out and said, no, this place is legit. So that was that. Now I have one more thing to show you, and then we're gonna get out of here. So remember we talked about the cake loan program?
Yes. Let's talk about that again.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you something because we now have a resource for your borrowers to go look. Okay, see my website now. If you scroll down, there you go. Have your cake and eat it too. Click on that. That's our homepage, Real Estate Mortgage Insiders, cake loan program. Alina, do you have your cell phone by you?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, we're gonna do a little experiment here. So you're gonna have your borrowers come in and they say, you know what? I want to see if I qualify for the cake loan program. You know what? AGK Realty am I doing that right? No. What's the email address?
AGK Realty at gmail.com.
AGK Realty at gmail.com. And then your phone number, if you don't mind, because this is where your clients will call you, right?
Yes, of course. Let me give you the business phone number.
And that will ring your. Will that go to your cell phone?
Yeah. It's 786.
We're going to do experiment right now. 786
377
6309.
6309.
6309. All right. So if you want to reach Alina Melodine in Miami, you can call that number. And we're going to say she has a house that's worth $2 million. Not uncommon for Miami. And we're going to say she has a loan on it for 1.2. And we're going to say you got $100K for a down payment. And what we're trying to figure out is, okay, I'm in my house. I'm trying to sell my house. I want to go buy a new home. How much can I get if I go through the cake program? So you fill this out and you hit submit. Okay. Now you, Alina, should be getting a text.
Let me open it.
I'm going to flip back and turn this off. Did you get a text?
Not yet.
And of course, these things always, they never work on demand, right?
I don't have
Put the right phone number in. Let me see. Well, I got a message here. So it messaged me that you filled it out. So on my end, if you look here, now you can't even see it. There it is. I get a message telling me, Alina, well, my background's throwing it off, but you should. So your number 786-77-6309?
Yes.
Okay. You should have got it. And that
it might be gets, take some time.
Yeah, because I see the text on my end. So what it shows me, Alina, thank you for submitting your information for our cake loan program. Based on the asset information you submitted, you would have enough liquidity to qualify for new home purchase of $1,425,000 with a 20% down payment. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so we built that in there. So if somebody wants to know, because remember, this is a loan program that has very specific qualifications. It's 70% loan to value of your home.
I got it.
Hey, there it is.
It took some time. Alina, thank you for submitting. Oh, I can buy 1.425 with 20% down.
Yep. That's just using your equity.
So it automatically calculates it.
That's it.
I love it.
Nice. Yeah. So that way, people are considering this. They're stuck in their home. They're trying to sell, and they want to go buy. Maybe they want to buy it iron flat or flat iron. Maybe they're ready to go do that because we can go up to $2 million. So I know we can qualify that, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever. Maybe they want to live in Coral Gables. I have a friend that sold a house for 1.8. Right now, it's in escrow. So there's homes, right? Maybe they want to buy one of your properties that you have for sale. And they're trying to sell their house. they can do the cake loan program. They can use our tool to figure out, okay, well, how much equity do I have? How much can I get for a down payment? Because that also tells you how much more do you have to come up out of cash.
That's interesting.
So
it's interesting that it's automatically calculated.
That's how we roll, Alina.
Love it.
That's how we roll. We did that. So, well, good. Hey, we're at 40 minutes already. We had a good show. Love the information. Really appreciate it. So, with that, we're the Real Estate Mortgage Insiders. My name's Ted Hicks for Alina Melodina. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye.